Hey, it's John and Rachel, YaJagoff Podcast. It is the Porch Tour Series, Porch Stop number 2. We are in the South Hills. I have no idea why. I'm a North Hills girl, and I've been in the South Hills twice now. In the last 2 weekends, I have no idea what's happening, but I will tell you that the vibe we are getting from this place, if they're not winners, I don't know who is. So we are doing the Zachary's Mission Porch Tour presented by People's Gas 2023, and we are at the Wank Home, which we literally got here, and everybody is wearing YaJagoff t-shirts. We absolutely love it. We feel like Jags because we didn't wear ours, right? I feel kind of bad about it. So as usual, we have some great guests to talk to and a great musician who's been on before. And before we do that, we encourage you, it is so hot outside. Go get whatever you're drinking at this point because it's noon. So go grab your drinks, enjoy the show, and it will come out on Monday wherever you get podcasts or Tuesday from the YaJagoff.com site. John?
Ready? Do it.
Brandon? Ready. Pressure's on. He's sweating because he's nervous or it's 104.
I think it's just the sun.
I think it's just the sun. All right. Brandon Payne, you've been with us before, and we're so excited because you did a porch tour stop for us again. And now we chose near your home, just for you.
Yeah, 5 minutes away. It was nice. And it's not raining. Last time I did it was raining.
Yes. Yeah. So Brandon's going to kick it off. In case they kind of go do their thing, where does everybody find you and follow you?
My last name's Payne, P-A-Y-N-E, so it's thatpainfulmusic.com, Facebook and all that, YouTube and all that stuff. So That Painful Music.
Love it. You're going to play for us first?
Yeah.
Ready?
Cool.
Got this chip on my shoulder. You know it's betting on black. Cause I ain't gotta worry going broke, baby. All the riches in the world you can never stack. Never felt a loss in a gambling hall. Never lost a bet that seemed too small. With all the odds against me, I'll never hold. Cause I got the hands I never fold. Feel like I'm still in Vegas when I'm with you. Got them just the right answer to get me through. And there are no odds against me, this I'll prove. There's no thing is losing when I want you. Smoke in the mirrors never distract me. With my poker face, I'm focused on the prize. And the dealer tends to keep on asking me, don't you think it's time to call it a night? Never lost a moment I don't want back. Never made a deal and steered off track. And with all the odds against me, I'll never hold. Cause I got the hands I'll never fold. Feel like I'm still in Vegas when I'm with you. Got them just the right answer to get me through. And there are no odds against me, this I'll prove. There's no thing is losing when I want you. Feel like I'm still in Vegas when I'm with you. Got them just the right answer to get me through. And there are no odds against me, this I'll prove. There's no thing is losing when I want you.
Dude, how about that?
How about that?
Yeah. You got a YaJagoff crowd behind you, right?
You do.
You know you're supposed to turn around to the crowd, but
No,
how weird is that, right? You need one of those bike helmets.
Bicycle mirror.
Yeah,
There you
right.
go.
All right,
Brandon
everybody.
Payne, we will have you back at the end. We appreciate you. So thanks for starting us off with a bang.
Yeah, do you want to do People's Gas right now? People's Gas? All right.
Oh, no, I'm moving over here. No, if you want to, we can. It's up to you. I'm fine because you'll be here. So if you're... All right. You want me to take
All right. So everybody, yep, that one. Ready? The People's Gas Porch Tour for Zachary's Mission makes a stop in the South Hills. Whoop, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Yeah. Did you know Pennsylvania law requires you to call 811 at least 3 business days before you dig? That's not just for contractors and big projects. It's even homeowners working on simple projects like a new mailbox or expanding garden. They'd still need to call 811.
Just call 811 before you dig your jack off.
It's the law. Peoples-gas.com. All right. So in the meantime, also, we have to say, here we go. Get the best experience of customer service and maintenance for your Rourke Advantage at the Service Center on West Liberty Avenue. Visit RourkeHonda.com for all of your vehicle needs. And they check out our blog post because we write about JaGoffs over there.
Because John gets angry, he has a little bit of road rage, and I feel like they sponsor those blog posts. So thanks. As always, go to RourkeHonda.com for all of your vehicle needs. And now we start the YaJagoff Podcast from South Hills yet again. Porch stop number 2 at the Wancombe for Zachary's Mission's Porch Tour, presented by People's Gas.
Cool. And this is when you listen to the podcast, you'll hear all these famous people say YaJagoff, YaJagoff, YaJagoff. And we will now say, with this John and Rachel, the YaJagoff Podcast, if you're listening for the first time, we ask that you follow us, subscribe to it, or just go get it on either YaJagoff.com every Tuesday, or go to Q929FM.com, go to the personality page, and you can listen to the podcast there because we're on there 7 to 10 p.m. every Monday through Friday.
And a kudos and thank you to Monica on air, who is actually the morning person, and she produces our podcast. We're so lucky. So make sure you're listening in the morning to Monica, and she has some great segments and maybe a couple of guest spots from Jags coming up soon.
Right. You have to listen to the end game on...
That's his favorite.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. All right.
Thank God she's behind the camera. We can get all the... can you help us out?
As we get ready to tell everybody about the prizes that our homeowner gets, let's have our homeowner, Brandy, come on in and have a seat. Grab one of the microphones.
Brandy.
So,
the coolest part, we've known Brandy for quite some time, and when she submitted, we'll tell you all about that porch. Go ahead. Tell her what she gets. What are her prizes, John?
Coming to the porch store doesn't just get you John and Rachel, Monica, and Tracy showing up. It gets you all kind of things, including stuffed muffin mixes and pancake mixes from Mary Mac Bakehouse, cookie ice cream, which we almost forgot in the car. And
it did not melt yet.
The Pittsburgh Irish Festival tickets. They get a special gift from the Dryer Vent Wizard. All things empanada and Spectrum Fudge. And, dudes, Ernie, Richie Sausage, and Mancini's Bread.
How about that?
How about that?
Thank you, guys.
Well, no, thank
for
you.
everyone coming. This is awesome.
Listen.
We will be eating all of this
We
stuff.
need to go right into why we chose your porch. Or, I'm sorry, talk about Zachary's mission.
What we're going to talk about, what was on the blog?
Sure.
All right. So we talked
I'll
about...
go with the script.
You have to talk about the shindig.
We
The
do have to
shindig
talk
is
about
your
the
thing.
shindig. So you have to go look at our video. We are not trying to shamelessly plug our video on social media, but the shindig video is pretty funny. There is a shindig going down August the 28th. It's actually in almost Butler County at the Union Brothers Brewery. They moved a little bit up the road, and they are doing something with the My Preferred Real Estate, and it's literally a shindig. There are so many things I couldn't mention them right now.
It's August
but you have to look
28th?
at the video
Yeah.
to see. They're doing cornhole. They're doing bands all day. They're doing a car show. There are face painting and balloon art for kids, all this stuff. So go check it out. We're going to have a good time.
2 JaGoff blog posts we did real quick. Tortilla chips that are tortilla flakes because someone doesn't know how to handle the bag at Giant Eagle. The whole bottom was just broken like corn flakes. It's not even chips. Can't even use them. And the Mount Washington sign that said Iron
That
City.
was good.
It didn't for a while, but as you may know, Mary Mac Bakehouse helped us put the font up there. It says, "Don't be a JaGoff," and that's the sign that should be up there.
I agree.
Up
It
there.
should just stay
Up
there
there.
all the
Up
time.
there.
Up air.
Up there.
And obviously, we talked about pickle juice drinking because Picklesburg is next week. We cannot wait. In fact, we have a specialty podcast coming out for Picklesburg. We're going behind the scenes with Pittsburgh Today Live. We get to chat with all of them. But in the meantime, check us out at Picklesburg. John and I are facilitating the pickle juice drinking contest for the 4th year in a row. And it is quite fun. But let me tell you, that responsibility is heavy because we have to determine whether or not they qualify. It's tough.
Yeah. All right, Brandy, it's now time to talk to you. Now that we have you sit in the sun for 5
It was
minutes.
exhausting,
like
Brandy.
to pre-bake. We pre-bake
No
all
worries,
of our
no
guests.
worries. I'm not
So,
working on the girl, so I'm
First
Yeah,
of
okay.
all,
right?
let's talk about, this is the porch tour. People enter things to enter the porch tour, try to butter us up. You did a great job. Talk about the video you made. Was it at Acrisure or PNC Park?
It was at PNC Park. There you
Literally, Scott Baker.
this real quick.
He's buttering up the sticky buns.
Yeah, Scott Baker is just doing something over John's shoulder, and I'm jealous, and it smells so delish. Go ahead, Brandy.
Okay, we were at PNC Park when we did that video. There was probably about 50 of us there for a pirate game. We love a tailgate. That's one of my favorite things to do. So I collected everybody, gathered them with a nice city view, and
Submitted.
I think my favorite part is, and I don't know who to give the credit to and who started it, when they start chanting "YaJagoff" after.
it.
That was
It
the
brought a
best
tear
part.
to our eye.
Oh, good.
No,
Glad
literally,
we could, be
we
part of
saw
it.
it and we were like, Tracy, just get her. Let's get this scheduled and let's go from there. And you know what? Some of them were really great. Like the one where we were last week, you know, it was a waterfall, all stone. There was like a little, not creek, like a little pond. They have 2 frogs. It was very eloquent. It was very, very nice. But then that one, it was like, oh, you know, it's like Big Brother. You know, you have to pick the ones. Like, there's rules. You got to get us somehow. John keeps saying, butter us up, and you did.
All right. I know how to butter him up
You
like
do.
he's buttering
Yes.
that
Yeah, right.
sticky
so,
buns.
Brandy, we know you from Azazu. How long have you knew actually Arnold Zigarelli, right?
Yes, I know
Yeah.
Arnold Zigarelli.
He's a
and
Pittsburgh icon.
He definitely is. In fact, I was his assistant for probably 20-some years.
Who
So-
would know because you're only 28?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So
She's a child prodigy of Arnold Zigarelli.
this is true.
You
So-
know, one of my favorite memories was, and we've worked with Azazu for a lot of years, one of the best things was interviewing him and you whenever he was leaving his retirement. You know, it was so bittersweet because you're seeing everybody get sad that it's an end of an era. Everybody knew him from back in the day. He started Emilio and Gino. But the advice that he continues to give and the role he plays in Azazu is just mesmerizing, right?
It was. Even to this day, he still posts a motivational Facebook page every day, just for everybody,
Yeah.
just to keep
Wow.
at it.
Yeah.
To
Isn't
help
it
us
crazy
all
to
out.
think you're that close to an icon? You know what I mean?
It
I mean,
really
he really
was.
is iconic,
He
yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I was very fortunate to meet him when I did. I
Yeah.
think he did a lot for me in many ways.
What was one of the biggest things he taught you? Because obviously Azazu is known for all of their amazing people who do great hair. I mean, don't judge me today from the humidity.
Right.
But typically they do a phenomenal job. But what did you learn most from him? Because I think, in my opinion, you can learn how to better your craft, but it's the business savvy, right?
Right. So definitely the hair part of it, of course, but just everything, life things
Yeah,
also.
life lessons.
And I probably told you guys the last time, one of my favorite stories is I didn't drive. I lived in Mount Washington and I didn't have to.
Yeah.
I could take the T and go everywhere. And he finally said, I am getting you driver's license.
Yeah.
He's like,
Like
I'm going to
lessons,
pay
right?
and
Yeah.
get your lessons for you. So he paid to get lessons to make sure I got my driver's license.
Trace, this is what John's doing.
For Tracy, right? So,
that
when
the
we get the
cutest thing?
YaJagoff bus, Tracy will
I
be
love that. Yeah.
driving
Oh,
it.
she's
Yeah.
the best navigator without
Right.
driving, so
Yeah.
that's all good.
That is super cool. Now, talk about your friends that are here. Now, actually, let's go backward because how the hell did you find this house? Because we had a heck of a time finding Scott.
I mean, she
everybody
lives
else
here.
were like, that's where we should have turned. We said that 3 times in the car in 5 minutes.
Yes, it is a tricky way to get up here, but that's what I like most about it.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a dead-end street and not too many people are coming.
Yeah.
So it's a hidden street right off 51.
Yeah.
And if you come the 88 direction, it gets even more tricky because there's another street down there called Kingwood, and that's not my street.
That's so funny.
Oh
so
my God.
I'm glad everybody made it today.
Yeah.
So here's what makes this place special. Like, literally, I'm not just saying this. And we felt very, very comfortable and had a great time at our first spot, no question. But we literally pulled in, and there was just a sea of YaJagoffs. And we say that as the utmost term of endearment because we are a term of endearment YaJagoffs, but they all had T-shirts that say things like, live, laugh, live, love, and laugh. Don't be a YaJagoff. Like, you themed this like no one's business. Can we bring your husband in, or is he not one? Oh, okay, sorry. He was like, girl, don't go there.
He's like,
But everybody has a different T-shirt. It's themed. Like, you guys are fun people. This is awesome.
And this is definitely a Pittsburgh house because he's not Donnie.
No, Dawn.
He's Donnie.
Donnie.
He's Donnie. Donnie with the
Well,
YaJagoff
the beauty
shirt.
of that was, and I know I'm sort of like, I'm a good secret keeper, but I'm not a good surpriser. I don't like surprises. So this was tough for me. Like, the dog stop people who were coming on, they asked, hey, does she have a dog? And I was like, I guess we need to find out, but I'm not the one to ask because I'm going to blow the surprise. So we found that out. And then we needed a griddle. And so we went to John's ex-wife's house to get a griddle because that's the way we roll. Whatever we need to do, we appreciate you, Candy, because you made this happen. But you had one set up as if you knew. So surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
We love it.
We're ready for anything here.
We really
Well,
are.
So you guys are collecting for Zachary's mission, and again, we're not going to talk about that because we don't want the next two porches to get any insight on how much you might have, right? But we know that the porch that collects the most everything items is calculated by Patricia and Rob as far as who is making the most Zach packs. Then they're the ones who are going to win the big prize in August. So
Yeah, and we are
appreciate
working
you
on
doing
that.
this.
Yes.
It's
No
sweet.
problem. Thank you. And it's fun. And I have a lot of great friends and family to help me.
You
That's
really
sweet.
do.
That's sweet.
You're a great person. Seriously, if I can plug, Brandy's not on social media, so I will do it. I will plug Azazu. If you are looking for somewhere to go for all of your beauty needs, seriously, that is it. I mean, both locations. I'm in the between, so I can go to either. But basically, right in the heart of downtown, or you can go in the north. They have the most experienced staff. Emilio and Gino and Caesar now. They know like how to treat people, how to get people coming back. That is the reason for the longevity. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, that's why I'm still there.
And Brandy's
Yeah.
still there, so check her
Go
out.
see Brandy.
There you go.
Walk in and see Brandy and say, the Jagoffs told me to come.
She will love that.
I want to
Hey,
see what
did
the
you
front
look at my
desk was.
questions
I
today
love
to-
the. I love.
Which one do you want me
I
to
don't
ask
even,
her?
I can't even
we have a
pick one.
question
They're all
of the day.
good. They're all good, actually.
All
Do
right,
it.
Brandy, you'll get this. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. So, you know, I'm a very low maintenance person. I literally get my hair done and that's it. I'm not nails. We're not even talking about my hygiene. So basically, what is your like fake dress up? Like you don't feel like dressing up because it's so hot, or you're tired and you don't really feel like going out. What's your trick that this is my fake dress up? Like, mine is I'll throw black on and a big pair of earrings. What's yours?
Wow.
It's a good
I don't
question,
know.
right?
That is a good question.
Because John
Again,
will say, "Oh, that's nice," and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm fake dressed up." Like that's my answer, right? But do you get me?
right. I would have to say from being in the beauty business, not even hair surprising, but a little bit of lipstick and mascara.
That's a
Earrings,
Cigarelli answer.
And there you have
Yeah,
it.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Because
That's
he
it.
said that. The last memory I have, and I mean, he's still here and amazing, but when
my
I
God,
last
I
saw
thought he
him,
passed.
he was like, maybe you should wear some lipstick. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. So, but that's true. That's a
Yep,
good answer.
lipstick, earrings, and a little bit of mascara goes a long way.
There you go.
Awesome answer, Brandy. Thank you so much for having us. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Who's
Brandy.
next?
All right. Want to do Scott so he can make sticky buns?
Scott!
Everybody? Scott Baker.
Our anchor. This is super exciting.
Scott brought the surprise.
What do I
And
have to do?
pick up the sign.
Does anyone want anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
All right,
These
Scott
are definitely
Baker.
sticky buns.
Yeah, I see that.
Anything? Want to what?
Do you want to?
Yeah, the white one would be
That's all right. You can touch one of the microphones. We're okay. It won't fall out of your hand if you have too
It's
many
not
beers.
like
That's
we've,
for
yeah,
sure.
it's not like we've not.
All right, so Scott Baker, 5-generation bakers, come on in here. You guys have been around forever. I grew up at McKees Rocks eating your pies, eating your eclairs.
Right.
And but in the meantime, now you've focused. You've shown how businesses can be flexible.
Sure.
And retain longevity.
Right.
So 5-generation bakers tells it well like it is. You guys just signed an agreement with Eaton Park to do sticky buns. But before we do that, take us back. Like you resuscitated this company.
Sure. 5-generation bakers is the name of the bakery. It's a literal term. I'm the 5th generation of my family in the baking business. My great-great-grandfather immigrated to the United States in the 1860s and opened up his bakery actually just down the street
Look at
here.
this.
That is awesome.
We're
Thank
coming
you.
back here every week.
On
Go ahead.
Sawmill Run Boulevard, or actually on Steuben Street. 25 Steuben Street was the location of his first
really?
bakery. Yeah.
Okay.
In 1875. It was called the Microwave Bakery, and then eventually his sons joined. It became the Microwave Baker and Sons. And when he retired, he had 7 sons, so they changed the name to the 7 Baker Brothers Bakery. In the 30s, my grandfather wanted to go into business for himself. Graduate of Pitt. He worked for the 7 Baker Brothers. He and his cousin Bernard McDonald opened up Jenny Lee Bakery in 1938, and their first location was in the G.C. Murphy building down in Market Square.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that either. Wow.
At that time, it was actually called the Diamond Market because
Yes.
it was an
I
open air
remember that
market where people would come into town and
Right.
get their produce and
Yeah.
and groceries and things for the week. So
We need to record that for our neighborhood nuh-uh.
Yeah, right.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's like, nuh-uh. I had no idea. That's hysterical.
That's
okay.
great. So, Jenny Lee was a full-line retail bakery. He grew pretty quickly. In 41 is when he bought the building in McKees Rocks and moved the production, all the bakery production to
What was
41.
the reason? Do you know?
He just outgrew the space. So he wasn't actually baking out of GC Murphy building. He didn't have enough space down there. I think they were frying donuts in the front window.
Okay.
But he was originally open. He was reselling Seven Baker Brothers products because they coexisted for a while. Then by the end of his first year, he was making everything himself, but he was making them in the basement of a bakery in Dormont. He was renting that space.
Wow.
And in 41, he bought the bakery in McKees Rocks, moved all of his production there. And I think by the early 70s or late 60s, there were 14 retail locations around Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. So
And that building is like so
Yo,
iconic.
yeah, right.
You
It
know,
was.
right there. in
It
the
was.
It
kiosk.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it
knocked
was.
it down
Right.
in 2017
Yeah.
to build a speedway, but it was actually 4 buildings connected on the inside.
Oh, wow.
So you go inside, it felt like one facility. From the outside, it looked like 4 different buildings.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Hatman's Dairy was a hotel. The buildings were multitude of different businesses over the years.
I did not know that.
So fast forwarding, somehow you end up just making cinnamon bread.
Right.
Cinnamon,
Yeah. So
was
fast
that like
forward.
the thing, if you don't mind me asking? Like, we talk about how people in Pittsburgh were like, oh, you get the best eclairs there. Or you get the best.
Right.
But was that like one of the go-tos?
So, in 2006, on Thanksgiving Day, a major fire in the bakery shut us down for almost 5 months.
Yes.
My parents rebuilt, came back just in time for the Great Recession, in hindsight, maybe they should have just closed the doors after that fire. But, my dad's commitment to his employees and customers and my grandfather's legacy, he rebuilt. But we couldn't survive the recession. Unfortunately, in August of that year, they ultimately made a decision to close the doors. And I was burnt out. I was frustrated. I was angry. I was unemployed.
Yeah.
And, I'm helping my dad liquidate his business. And after a couple months of that, I'm like, you know what? My grandfather started over. I can do this. I'm a 5th-generation baker. It was kind of my aha moment. And I had a job offer at the time. And I go home and I said to my wife, I said, how would you feel if I didn't accept this job and started writing a business plan? And fortunately,
God love
this
her.
always tears me up because, it was a turning point in my life. And, she comes from an entrepreneurial family as well. And she's like, Scott, if you got to write a business plan, then that's what you need to do. And I spent about 6 months writing the business plan. And you asked why cinnamon swirl breads.
Yeah.
Donuts were 25% of Jenny Lee's business. So I thought about donuts. But there's a Dunkin' Donuts almost every small town.
Yeah.
We were on every wedding cookie table in Pittsburgh. But there's 1,000 cookie commercial bakers across the country. I still get phone calls to this day for our buttercream icing, but every supermarket makes a pretty darn good decorated cake. And so I kept coming back to the cinnamon swirl bread. I'm like, you know what? This is a retail product. If you walk into Oakmont Bakery, Bethel Bakery, Kretschmar's Bakery, all 3 of those will sell a cinnamon swirl bread in that old-fashioned style crimp pan like we make. But I couldn't find them anywhere in supermarkets or commercial outlets anywhere. I did find a chain down in Missouri, a small chain of supermarkets that made them, but they had a central bakery and they made them themselves. And so I kept coming back. Was it because people didn't want these, or did no bakery develop a commercial method? And I banked on the fact that it was just too difficult for most bakeries to do. We developed the production process, and voila, here 13 years later, we shipped into 81,000 homes in all 50 states last year. So
How about that, huh?
My God.
I actually am
Yeah.
getting a tear in my eye. To be
Same.
honest with you.
This is what we do.
You're
We bring
fired.
people
You're making
together.
me cry. You're supposed to make me hungry. No, I really
both.
I just love it. And so now the new announcement is that Eaton Park used to serve.
Or jump in and say, before that, the QVC thing happened.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
through
good
a
point.
timeline,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, how
Yeah.
did that sort of come to be?
Well, frankly, the pandemic and QVC saved my business. We lost a concentrated risk customer in end of 2018. It really affected 2019.
Thank you.
And I lost 40% of my business overnight. And
Jesus.
so, yeah, we had just moved into this state-of-the-art facility. It was gorgeous. We needed 3 years of double-digit sales growth to be able to hit our projections and pay the mortgage. And that was gone. I considered Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I couldn't afford it. And so I'm fighting to survive. I come up with a plan. My bank approves it. And then the pandemic hits. And my already declined business, in May and June of the pandemic year, in April, we were supplying school districts, we're supplying restaurants, and these are all shut down. My business was 30% of what we projected for those months.
Oh my God.
Well,
oh
then
my God.
QVC comes calling. Actually, my broker that connected me to QVC, I'd met her a few years earlier. She remembered. Everybody that sells food online, their sales skyrocketed during the pandemic, and we saw that too. We had over the first couple of months, our online orders were up 1,400%. QVC realized that same meteoric growth in food sales because they sell food on QVC. And so this broker was savvy enough to remember me. We pitched it. They loved it. Now the pandemic too, the bank has more patience with me. We scrapped that original plan. We grew 25% by the end of that pandemic year, despite being as down as we were.
Wow.
What
a success story. But Scott, tell me that doesn't happen with, like you said, a wife who believes in you, an entrepreneurial attitude, and I have nothing to lose kind of mentality, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, you have to be at your lowest to say, I have to do this.
Lowest, yeah. I think I scraped through the bottom of the barrel.
Sure.
And the fortitude to dig yourself up
great
out
idea.
of that,
Yeah,
right?
great
I had a potential investor in my business look at me and said, "You've got a fabulous business here, but you're insolvent." And I took it as an insult. I wanted to grab him by the ring of his neck and drag him out of my bakery, but
Was it John?
I think the guy's name was John, but not this John.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, but my back was against the wall in so many different ways, but I just refused. I wasn't going to give up. Somebody was going to drag me out of there dead.
Yeah.
So
What a story.
All
So
right,
now,
fast forward. Eaton Park.
Yeah.
Eaton Park, 2 institutions, the bakery that's been around forever, the
Broadhurst family,
been
the
around
bakers,
forever.
yeah.
And here you are serving sticky buns at Eaton Park, which is super cool.
We're so blessed. I mean, we've wanted to work with Eaton Park and the Broadhurst family for years. They're just a great family. They give back to their community. They focus on their employees as part of their dining experience, and that's why they're so successful. And we try to emulate that. I mean, we're a pimple on the rear end of a horse compared to the Eaton Park Hospitality Group, but they just do things the right way, and so they're an ideal partner for us. And the way we look at our business perspectives and strategies, we want to emulate the great things that they do, and it's just awesome to partner with them.
Scott, I would love to talk to you for another hour, but I'm
so Scott will be coming on every week.
No, but I'm so sick and tired of sitting here smelling these sticky buns.
You want them on the griddle.
Off camera.
You want them on the
and
griddle.
nothing's happening to them. So, first of all, thank you and
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah.
And thanks for even coming on the radio show the other night. Let's just keep celebrating. We got to get to Eaton Park and have a sticky bun. In the meantime, where does everybody find out more to order online and everything else?
Sure.
about you guys?
You can go to jennyleeswirlbread.com, but if you want to buy my bread, go to qvc.com.
Okay.
And put Jenny Lee in their search engine, and you'll find all of our great breads, swirl breads, and everything.
That's a nuh-uh
there.
for people who don't
Yeah.
know, right?
Nuh-uh.
I mean, those true QVCers know, but yeah, you just never know.
Scott is a little different than the last podcast when you sat with a toaster under your arm with a few drinks in your guzzle.
And we would be remiss, though, if before we let you go, we will ask you the question of the day, but we would be remiss if we didn't say, you gave so many kudos to the Eaton Park family, but you as well give back to the community quite a bit. So thank you for that. We always see you, so many different community events, so many nonprofit events. You're constantly embodying what Pittsburgh is. So thank you.
Well, I didn't just learn how to bake from my father and grandfather. I learned how to
Be a good
That's right.
human.
That's
exactly
it.
be a good community member,
That's
and
it.
that's what it's
Yeah.
all about.
Nice.
All right. So,
Question
you
of the
heard the
day.
woman answer, right? Is there a guy trick on being dressed up but not really? Like, you don't feel like going out, you're sweating or you're cold or you're in your PJs and you're like, I got to do this thing. What's your fake dress up?
You know what? It's as simple as putting on a sport coat.
Oh,
Yeah.
well done.
Such a good
Yeah.
question.
I wear jeans on the daily to work and
Yeah.
button-down shirts, and I throw on a sport coat, and people are like, "What'd you dress up for?"
I'm telling you. Yeah. There you go. It's the
I'm
accessories.
going to have to
that-
start carrying a sport coat
Yeah.
in my car.
Yeah.
We need another thing in that car.
Another thing.
There you
Yeah.
go. Scott,
All right.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah,
for
you
joining
bet,
us.
for sure.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Absolutely.
And we're
Are we
going to hear a
going
little more
cornhole?
music. Yep. Go cornhole.
All right.
Some music from Brandon Payne, and then
Should
all
we
right.
sing?
Bobby
It's
Brown? Oh, no.
Monica. His
no,
name's
no,
Bobby
we'll just
Brown.
edit him in there.
So we're going to be like,
Yeah.
it's my
Bobby
prerogative.
Brown?
I can do what
Yep,
I want to
ready?
do. It's my prerogative. Nobody can tell me what to do. Are you singing Bobby Brown songs with me?
I did. No, you're the singer. God knows I cannot sing.
Every little step
Come
I
on,
take.
right there. Right
you
there. Or
will
there. Either
be
one.
there. Every little step I make.
Either one. Yes, sir. All right. Do it, Rach. Give us
I
some
was
music
singing
bed coming
Bobby
in.
Brown
Do it.
to bring you in.
Wait, give us a good edit.
Let me think here. Every little step I take, you will be there. Every little
That
step I
is
make.
Bobby
No.
Bobby
It's my
Brown.
prerogative.
Yeah.
Boom!
Well done.
Boom!
Well done,
That was
sir.
so good.
You're,
That
you're
was
not
good.
only a
That was
champion
good.
at cornhole, you're a champion at Bobby Brown singing.
Thank you very much.
I
Nice.
love it.
Yay.
We were so excited to have you on this podcast. I am not just saying that. Tracy knows that John and I have been preparing. We do some work with a group called Providence Point, which is a retirement community in Scott Township. And we started a podcast there with them so that they could tell their amazing stories of what their life was like before going into the retirement community. And we said, we have got to get this podcast off during the games, the senior games that are coming. Next thing we know, Tracy Coslow gets us you, and we all love cornhole. So we were like, this is a dream come true. So did you recently compete? What have these games been like? Talk to us.
Well, I first started at a company picnic, not a company picnic, my wife's family picnic, and I got interested. I saw two people throwing cornhole, and I didn't know what it was, so I participated, and I didn't do very well. And then my son-in-law, he was there also, and I noticed that he was throwing the bag kind of like a pancake swirl, and I said, wow, that's pretty good. I got to learn how to do that. So that's how I got started. Let's get back to the original question.
Yeah. So, how then you just kept playing and playing and playing? Are you like a Willie Rennebeck where you built your own things and you built your own scoring machine and you bought dude shoes, everything? Did you really get into all that
I think
stuff?
he's making fun of my husband.
No, not at all. He really got into it really, really heavy. Did you do that or you just keep practicing?
No, I just kept practicing. It was hard. It's hard to find a place to practice during the wintertime.
Okay.
It's really difficult. If you don't have a large garage or some kind of facility where you can go and practice
Covered.
every day,
Sure.
you're not going to excel. You have to be dedicated and try to find a place. And just so happened, the adult community where I live,
Okay.
they have a clubhouse. And in the clubhouse, I got permission to use it when it was available. And I started to practice. I'd throw like maybe 350 bags a day,
Jeez.
trying to improve my skills.
Well, you answered my question, but I feel like there's more than that. How do you actually practice? Every sport has some kind of like conditioning, right? Basketball, you're doing something to kind of make sure you're pivoting right, you're getting your layups right. What is it with cornhole? Because people love it. Like you said, it's become this thing. There's a circuit now.
Okay, there's two things. Let's touch on one of them.
Okay.
One of them is try to keep the bag flat as you can when it's spiraling through the air.
Okay.
In a rotating manner like a flying saucer.
Okay, so
You want to do that?
You
You
don't
want
wanna
it.
lob
You
it.
want it to do that.
You want it to spin.
You want it to spin.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean it has to spin more revolutions than the next guy, as long as it's spinning somewhat.
Okay.
And keep it flat. If it's on an angle, it's not as effective. When that flat bag hits that board, it picks up speed. And when it hits the bottom of the board, it slides right up into the hole. And that's the primary shot in cornhole is the slide shot.
That's exactly what one of my questions was. So you don't want to swish it net, nothing but net. You
That
want to
is called
slide
that is called airmail.
airman.
When you take the shot and you throw it straight for the hole and it goes in without touching the board.
Yeah.
That's the airmail shot. And top flight professionals only make about 70% of those shots.
Oh wow.
Where
Same.
a top flight professional can throw the slide shot probably 95% of the time. So the airmail shot does come into play on numerous occasions when a person blocks your shot from going in,
Okay.
or you're blocking their shot. You want to use the airmail to go over their bags.
But is there a way, I guess, understood, but is there a way, how do you perfect that? So is it the elbow?
I forgot about that part
yeah.
of the question.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The way I practice is I throw 40 bags, 4 bags at a time, 10 rounds. So that equals 40 bags. I play against what they call a ghost. I give the ghost 7 points. You can start out at 6, start out 5, whatever you want to start out. 1 bag in a hole is 3 points. 1 bag on a board is 1 point. So if you throw 4 bags, the maximum total you could get is 12. So after 10 rounds, the maximum amount of points you can get is 120 points. So my goal is, I started out actually with 7, actually 6. Now I throw my first 40 bags, and let's say I throw my first 4 bags, I total up my score. Let's say it's 7. I get 2 bags in a hole, 1 on the board, and 1 goes off the board. So now I have 7 points, so I'm +1 against the Ghost. The Ghost only has 6.
Sure.
The Ghost gets 6 every round.
Oh, okay.
So the next round I throw again. If I get a 10, 3 in a hole, 1 on the board, and none off, I get 10, I'm +4. Now you add that +1 I had before and the +4 I got now I'm +5. The first one to 21 wins the game.
Yes.
Do you talk to the Ghost, Bobby Brown?
Not really.
Okay, good.
Actually, more importantly, does the Ghost talk
I got
to
other
you?
issues.
So I have to tell you this. Rachel and I were
That
at a
was good.
conference. We had a chance to play
Oh,
cornhole.
this is funny. Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
like, yeah, we could do this. Thank God Rachel carried us because I couldn't figure it out for to save my life. And I can't figure out golf to save my life either. Is that what it's like? It's muscle memory as far
Correct.
as? Yeah.
Correct. You have to concentrate. If you actually take about 20 minutes of your practice session and really focus and concentrate on what you're doing and try not to do wrong things, then you'll improve your game.
Okay.
You can throw 500 bags in one day, 1,000 bags in one day, and if you might pick up bad habits, and you don't want to do that.
Sure.
You want to stay with the good things, and if you're doing something wrong, maybe even have somebody watch you or video you,
Right.
and then you can pick up on your bad points.
All
So
right.
you've
No, go ahead.
practiced. Now
Practice.
the senior games are here. What was
Yes.
that like? What intrigued you about? I mean, first of all, I don't know if Western PA realizes the impact that these senior games have on our city. I mean, this is a big deal.
I honestly don't believe that the Pittsburgh area has gotten involved too much with cornhole, especially people over the age of 50.
Yeah.
I compete in several leagues, but I'm against individuals 18 years old and up. So I'm playing against really good people. A lot of them are a lot better than I am. I even have played against professionals. They are a lot better than I am. But I try to improve my game at my age, or any age. You try to improve your game and excel in your sport.
But you're the champion of.
I'm in the champion of my age division in cornhole
Nice.
in the
That
United
is
States.
so cool.
Can we have a round of applause
He
for
paused
Bobby
for the
Brown?
confetti.
Cornhole
There was supposed to
champion.
be confetti.
Cornhole champion. Nice.
Now sing my prerogative. Everybody at once. It's my prerogative. I can do what I want to do. All right. Me and you, we got this.
Yeah. Well, listen, it is a pleasure to meet you, and it's so cool. Now, what area do you live in? How far do
I
you
live in
drive?
Carnegie.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, you
we're
didn't
not
have
too
far to
then.
drive.
No, I didn't have too far to drive. The event that took place this past weekend
Yeah.
was in the David L. Lawrence Convention
Yeah.
Center.
Right.
There were a lot of different sports involved, not just cornhole.
Right.
There were over 11,500 athletes,
Wow.
an input of about $35 million to the region.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now how did you get into it? I mean, did they do like an RFP looking for people to actually submit to get into?
No, I found that out by accident. I was looking for a cornhole tournament last year so I could participate in a local tournament with maybe a fellow colleague, but I couldn't find one, and I ran across this National Senior Games, and I said, what the heck is this? I'm over 50. So I started reading about it, and so I called this lady in Florida, and she gave me all the particulars, and it's just like the Senior Olympics, you might say,
Yeah.
where you don't win any prize money, you just win medals and ribbons. So
And
it's-
bragging rights.
That
And
too.
get on the YaJagoff podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly. It's,
Well,
a,
go
it's,
tell
an
them
honor.
that,
It's
Bobby
an honor and a
Brown.
pleasure to be on this broadcast.
Yeah. Bobby Brown, we brought Ernie Ritchie sausage. We have sticky buns from Eaton Park and 5 Generation Bakers. Have you had any of that stuff yet? I saw you had a beer.
I'll tell you what,
Not
I did.
that I'm telling any
I'm
secrets.
going to attack that food counter in a
There you
real
go.
short
Good.
period of time.
Good. Before we
Bobby
let you
Brown,
go,
we always have a question of the day. The question is, for women, it's easy. We throw on a few accessories. It makes us look dressed up. What do guys do to kind of say, you know, I'm not in the mood to be dressy, but I'll throw this on, and there you go. I look like I'm dressed up. Do you have a secret? Is it a cornhole bag?
Nah. Oh boy, let me think a second.
Scott Baker's.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Scott Baker said sport coat.
Your wife is giving you context clues. She said the hat, which I do like, by the way.
I have to wear a hat. I got to cover up my baldness.
Okay. There you go.
I'm with you
There you go. Bobby Brown, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and we love what you're doing.
I thank you for your having me on the
Absolutely.
program.
All
Thank
right,
you.
some
was
more,
awesome.
some more music from Brandon Payne, and then we're gonna talk dog stops. All right, cool. All right,
dog stop
come on in
crew.
here, Corey and Brett. Come on in, grab the microphones. So we're continuing on Facebook Live. Oh, look, this is here. Show this. We need a picture of Bobby and his medal. Look at that. That's awesome. I feel like I'm shameful in touching it. There you go. Cool. Oh, you want it?
No, you're good. We're good.
That's awesome. All right, coming in from music. All right. Do you want to sing some more Bobby Brown? or are
No,
we
you
listening
guys,
to
I was
Brandon
singing
Payne?
Bobby Brown, but
Right,
you guys
right.
don't have a cool pop
We heard
name.
from Brandon
You
Payne.
missed it. I mean, I can't keep doing it because
Right,
I got to
right.
save the pipes for the big interviews.
All right, so Corey and Brett, you guys, welcome
Hi.
to the YaJagoff Podcast Porch Tour number 2.
Thank
Was
you
this
for
what
having
you
us.
anticipated, or you had no idea?
This is
like,
way
what-
more of a party, I think, than I
Oh,
thought
okay.
it was. It's a great surprise.
Oh,
Like,
good.
It's
We're so
rocking.
glad.
I love it.
We're so glad.
I may get in trouble for saying this, but I'm having to leave here to go to my son's birthday party. I think I'd rather stay here and party with you folks. So.
We will not allow that to be shown.
No one's
How's
going to
that?
tell Danielle it's
Yeah,
fine.
Monica, edit.
Yeah, right. No, we love the fact that you guys were interested because we love to shine the light on local businesses. And my gosh, talk about local businesses. Yours, you know, I want you to educate us, but it seemed like, oh, there was this place called the Dog Stop, and now
Yeah.
there are all of these places. Like,
Yeah.
where did it all start?
I mean, it started, Chris Kane and Jesse Kozlov, who are both from Pittsburgh. They went to school together when they were younger here in Pittsburgh. And they had this idea for a dog care facility that was, you know, better and different from what was already available. And they started here in Pittsburgh, our first location over on Washington Boulevard.
Oh, that was the first
Oh,
one?
yeah,
That was the
okay.
first one.
Yeah.
Yep, that's our first store. And I mean, we've come a long way
Yes.
from there. I came on about 12 years ago, and before we ever started selling franchises, we opened our second location on Banksville Road, which has since moved to West Liberty. We opened in the Strip. We just opened our new corporate location flagship store over in Allison Park in the Glenshaw area. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. We have 25, 26. I can't remember now how many we have
Wow.
open, and like 100 sold.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
there's
it's-
another 60 under development right
Yeah.
now.
Wow, how crazy is
It's
that?
crazy.
What's the magic? Not that we want you to give the secret sauce, but what is the magic?
The two of us.
Yeah.
You're looking at it.
Not about, you really
That was a good
templated
answer,
something that everybody knows. Like, is it
Yeah.
just, is it a customer service? Is it the process you decided what
So-
dog owners
I let-
I would say
Start
we
with the dogs.
put a premium on education, and I think that's
Okay.
definitely absent in a lot of the competition out there. I mean, I don't want to oversell it like it's something that nobody, like we have this secret sauce, but it's obviously a skilled position.
Yeah.
Our stores offer boarding, grooming, daycare.
Yeah.
Some locations have training. We have retail. You can't successfully do this just by throwing a bunch of people in the room and saying, here, you watch that. And if you ask Corey, she loves the story that, you know, when she came aboard, I think her training consisted of, did you have big dogs or little dogs growing up?
True
Big
story.
dogs. Okay, you go in that room.
Right.
You know,
That was
Exactly.
it. That
So-
was my
Beginning
first
of it all.
day.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
And I said, this should probably change. This is
Yeah,
not
right.
That's-
But isn't that the coolest part, the evolution? I mean, I don't know if
Absolutely.
you heard Scott
Yeah.
Baker talk, but his business started from his parents in the 1800s for a
Wow.
bakery. And now
Awesome.
he had to evolve through the recession,
Right.
through COVID, and through Dunkin' Donuts coming in and kind of being like, hold on, you know, how do you sustain? But same with you guys. Like, it may have been a no-brainer. Like, people have dogs. What do you do?
Right.
But
Yeah.
you're literally the ones who people go to constantly, right?
Well, and to your point, I mean, the to keep up with, it's not a huge industry, but, well, it's a huge industry as far as the
Money
money to
spent
be
and, yeah.
made and
Yeah.
the money being spent by pet owners, but like our our particular corner of the market is largely untapped. But that being said, we have other competitors in this area, the other franchise players that. I think our biggest differentiator is the team that we've built.
There you go.
I say that proudly and modestly at the same time. I mean, we got a special group.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing that sets us apart is our passion and continuing ed pushing forward, because you said it about bakers. Like that's the you have to evolve. You have to evolve, because this what we know about dog health and dog behavior is just, it's grown in the last 5 years, let alone the last 20, is astounding. Like what people were doing is completely shameful now. The things that we all grew up doing and thought were normal.
I think you don't know what
right?
you don't know.
Right,
And I think that that's the other thing when you talk about the secret sauce, or like the magic element of what makes the dog stop so special. It's not just education of our staff, which is, of course, for Brett and I, is a huge focus of what we do day to day, is building this curriculum for everyone who works for us, but also education of our clients. People come in and they think, okay, who do I have to help me understand my dog? Who do I have to help me train my dog, feed my dog, and for a lot of people, they think veterinarians, and I'm not going to bash vets at all. We love our veterinarians, but sometimes there's a missing element there of things they may not always be the most perfect resource for the questions you have. That's where we want the dog stop to step in and say, hey, I'm gonna help you know your dog better. I'm gonna help you be a better pet parent for your dog.
Pet behavior as well as owner behavior, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, Jessen, he knew it. 2 questions from that. So 2 things. One, where did this, there's a need for it.
Yes.
But it's so crazy now how much people are into their dogs. What happened? What was that transition that people had, some people are dog people and they have pets, to where it's part of life now? Like, you almost aren't a family without a dog, without sounding
well, and
like
I think
that.
a lot of people, too, there's been a delay in people having children, which is a lot of it. We have a lot of, especially here in Pittsburgh, young professionals who are putting off marriage or putting off, having children and starting with dogs. Like, dogs
Great
have
point.
become almost the stepping stone to becoming a parent for a lot of people. So we get, especially in the Strip District area, a lot of very young professionals in their 20s or their early 30s who aren't ready to have kids yet, but they have dogs and they treat them like their children. So
in the old days, I kind of go on what you said, Brett, is like we're almost bougie no matter what we do right now.
Right.
The basic today is bougie compared to what we did to our dogs. So
that's a good point.
So you guys are the experts here. So let's talk about some questions and answers, right? As far as as far as training a puppy, right? Every family has been through, Mom, Dad, can we get a puppy? And I promise I'll take care of it.
Right.
I promise I'll take care of it. We know what ends up happening. But really is. And I also had heard in the past that Christmas is not a good time to get a puppy.
Not
talk
generally.
about that tradition.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's become kind of a trope in movies and stories, and it's in commercials still, and everybody loves that it's just a very idyllic thought.
It's the Disney
I'm going
of,
to get this nice little fluffy golden retriever that's going to poke its head out of a box, and they don't show you the very next day or what happens over the next weeks and months. So I just think it's false advertising, of course, because it's painting a picture that's not accurate and not real. But I think the problem that the result of that. So, you can count on, you ask people in our industry, shelter staff in particular, they're going to tell you that, you can count on maybe come March or April, the shelters are flooded. And that's a direct result of people that acquired puppies during Christmas thinking it was a cool idea, or they wanted to appease their children, or whatever the reason was, and they just, without a whole lot of thought going into it, and without realizing the amount of responsibility involved, and to feed it what's the right food, what am I going to do with it when I'm gone at work, how am I going to teach it not to rip up my furniture and all that good stuff. So I think, I'm not saying that you should never get a dog over
But the
Christmas,
holidays are a busy time, and you don't have time to focus.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, that too, absolutely, So there's that practical side, or you're not going to be able to imagine that like the very next day, and then you got that week of vacation that the dog gets used to having you around all the time, and then you go to New Year's party and you come back and the dog's turned your house upside down, or and then you go back to work. and then you're like, man, this was a bad idea. Why did I do
What
this?
I love is you're practical.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're being practical because that's the way the business sustains. Because if you put on this show that, oh, dogs are fabulous, just like kids, they're not fabulous all the time.
Not
I
all
don't
the
know what
time.
your birthday party you're going to, but let me tell you.
You may be surprised. I spent this is not. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't have made this my career if I didn't have a serious passion for this, and dogs are my world. However, I think that has been what clients that I've worked with have appreciated about me over the years is that I do present that practical side, and I sometimes find myself playing devil's advocate and talking people out of doing things, or like, hey, I really want to get this.
Sure.
I want this breed for my family. Well, let's talk about your family and your lifestyle, and let me, I'll give you my input on whether I think that's a good idea. Or yes, certainly the timing of getting a puppy around the holidays, and you got to consider all sorts of moving parts. How old are your kids?
Yes.
What are they involved in? Like I could supply you with like a 60 item questionnaire that just resides in my head about what I want to know before saying, I think that would probably be a good choice for a family.
And that was the great segue to my other question, which was, to your point, Corey, you were saying like vets are great, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm also from that old school still. We have a dog, but I'm still from that old school that's like, I am not taking my dog to the vet for every little thing.
Right.
But some people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. You guys are sort of that middle where it's like, I'm not saying that you call you for consultation,
No, right.
but you may be that next layer of this isn't quite vet worthy, right?
Absolutely. Well,
That's
not quite
way,
vet worthy, or is this something, our big thing, one of the big focuses that we have at the Dog Stop is, I don't want to say healing through nutrition, but setting your dogs up for success through nutrition. And that sometimes we see clients who their dogs come in with chronic hot spots because they're chewing at themselves all the time and chewing these bald patches on their legs or at the base of their tail. And they're going and they're taking their dogs into the vet every month, every 2 months to get a steroid shot to make the hot spots go away. That's a conversation that we can have with you of like, hey, let's talk about diet. How a change in diet, you might pay a little bit more for the food, but I promise it's less than you're paying for your vet visit.
Exactly.
And you're going to actually solve the problem instead of just putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
Yeah. And that's also part of where we've evolved, right? Because like you said before, it was just like, oh, it's a dog. Now it's like, no, I want a solution or an answer on how this gets better.
And the pet food manufacturing industry has changed so much in the past 30 years where, if you were growing up, I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, and the pet food back then is almost a complete stranger to the food that we see now on the shelves in terms of quality, in terms of sourcing. And it's a lot hard. It's getting harder and harder to buy a nutritious food for your dog. And the things that we sell, we focus on them because we vet every single brand that we bring in. We test them on every single one of our dogs before we ever recommend it to a client to make sure that, okay, does this work? Does my dog have a shinier coat? Is his stool firmer? And we do all that before we ever say, hey, this is something that you might want to consider.
So you're the therapist for the doggo, right?
Corey is the authority on all things.
The whisperer
She's come a
of the
long way
dog
from,
owner.
do you have a big dog?
Yes.
I want to make sure we hit that question because big dogs, little dogs, reading the dog's body language.
That guy.
So
he's
tell
amazing.
me about that a little bit. We all think a wagging tail is a happy dog. Is that true?
Is that true?
Thank you I'm glad you brought that up and it wasn't me because I'm like I find myself cringing and itching a little bit whenever you say that.
You have hot spots.
I have
the wrong food.
Maybe I need to
change his
my
diet later.
No, I think I was running through my head before this. There unfortunately for me, it's hard to narrow it down to 2 or 3 like common misconceptions or common mistakes that people who are fancy themselves as dog savvy make every single day. And I always like to start with the one, like the classic example that you brought up, is that a wagging tail equals a friendly dog. But that is outright wrong. The dog could be wagging their tail because they're happy to greet you, or they're happy to bite you. The tail is more like you're monitoring that the dog is experiencing an emotion, which is about useless. Right? The dog is awake and they're standing up, so their tail is wagging. So to a trained eye, you're looking at the manner in which their tail is moving. Is the dog's tail high and stiff and just barely switching back and forth? Is the dog's tail up under their belly and just the very tip of it's wagging? Is the dog is the whole rear end and rump swishing back and forth. That's your more classic. That's a happy dog. But it's never just one body part either. Like you're looking at we use this.
Yeah.
We use this. I can't reveal too much of this, but basically it's a snout to tail assessment that we train our staff to perform in about 5 seconds time. Like you get really good at noticing, I'm gonna zoom in where necessary, but by and large, when I assess a dog, I'm zooming out. I'm just looking at I can make a glance assessment and go, is this dog threatening towards me or not, or is this dog extraordinarily stressed, or is this dog? And it becomes, once you're practiced at doing it, it's really easy to recognize. But my
so
basic
cool.
rule, and what I would share with the listeners is that don't assume that because you love dogs, dogs love you. And there are so many well-meaning folks out there that do unsafe or incorrect things. Again, well-meaning, but I think we as a species, the humans I'm speaking of, are a little bit arrogant about our place in the world, and that because I own a dog, therefore all dogs that I encounter on the street are fair game,
Yeah.
So if a dog's not showing affiliative behavior towards you, or like is interested, a sniff is not entering a contract of a relationship. A dog comes over and sniffs your leg. That's not. I don't assume that means you want me to reach down and pet you on the top of the head, because a lot of dogs don't want you to. And that's
Same.
just like I learned a great deal.
He's a fun killer.
Yeah.
We tease him all the time.
Killjoy Brent.
No, I think the good thing
But
is
it's
what,
important, though.
I
It's
think the good
important
thing is
stuff,
what
yeah.
you're showing is
Yeah,
that
it's
the
right.
dog stop is just not the place to go store your dog when you go
Yes.
on vacation.
Well, and that's-
it's a
that-
place
yes.
that can
Thank
be
you.
helpful to everybody.
It's education
in every
Yes.
aspect, right?
Yeah, and the one other big one is that we all learned this growing up, is that the correct way to greet a dog is to extend your arm,
Yeah.
with the back of your hand facing forward so that they can smell you. Well, let me tell you, the dog, especially as I am right now, that dog can smell me from about 3 blocks away, so they don't need me to extend my hand in their face in order
Right.
to
Step
get what
back.
I'm about. I need a shower, it's all
smart,
those
it's so
other things.
practical,
But
right?
Oh.
also, if that dog is in any way uncomfortable or inclined to react aggressively, you've just offered them something that they can grab a hold of, right? So that's like a breach of
Such a
space.
good point,
Just
yeah.
because a dog is standing the distance we are away from each other right now, like we're virtually strangers to each other. Like we can be friendly and we can have a conversation, but it might be crossing a line if I suddenly came over and slung my arm around you and gave you a kiss on the cheek. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
This is a
it's
great
fine.
party, but
Depends
what
on
I'm saying,
depends on how many drinks
right,
I've had.
exactly. Yeah.
We need more Bloody Marys.
I might noogie you back.
I like to highlight that fact for people, is that like it's not all in the same
Yeah.
category.
Yes.
Like there are
Read the
highly
room.
familiar
Yeah.
behaviors. Read the room.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a
I
great way
always
of
say,
putting
like, I've
it.
been at the dog stop for 4 years before Brett came in. and I'd been a dog owner my whole life. I've volunteered at shelters. Like, I've always been a dog lover. I did not realize how little I knew until I met Brett Reynolds. True story, not me just blowing him up.
Do you
But
get
he
called
is.
Bert sometimes?
all the time.
Yeah,
I
okay.
used to
I
lie
just
to
had to go
people
there
and
real
say
quick.
that Burt Reynolds was
Bert.
my uncle when I was younger.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, but that is such good advice, because it is true. People are just so, what was the word you used? Like, they just assume.
Yeah.
I can do this, and this is what I learned, but they really don't know. Yeah.
Right.
Where can
That's
people
awesome.
find out more about you guys online? Whether they want to buy a franchise, if they just need help with their dog,
Yeah.
if they made a mistake and bought a dog around Christmas and is still chewing the toys.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Thedogstop.com has all of our locations listed. There's franchise information there as well if you want to reach out to learn more about franchise opportunities. There's a Find Your Stop button where you can, search the area to see, who's the closest stop to you. And and
Just
we're
stop in
everywhere.
and see us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
And all of
I
our
think-
social media accounts are on the website.
We
as
also
well,
have an
so.
event coming up at Voodoo Brewery in the North Shore on the 18th at 4 o'clock. It's right before PNC Pup Night, where people can bring their dogs to the outside patio at Voodoo, and we'll have special stuff there for the dogs. We'll have prizes. We'll have like a hydration station for the dogs, so while you're getting your pint, they can have something as well.
Smart.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
No hides.
Oh, and yes, I brought treats for you guys too.
Oh my gosh.
These
Monica.
are these are no hides. These are something that we sell in all of our stores. It's a rawhide replacement or a rawhide alternative for dogs. Rawhide if I can say anything, it's stay away from it from your dogs. It's very dangerous. So these are all they're protein based. They're the actual meat of the dog. So this is actually made out of beef, pineapple, and banana. And they chew just like rawhide. So those are for
It's
you
the
guys.
tofu.
Please look what just happened.
I know, right? She got
like,
one earlier too. So she's like, oh, wait a minute.
That is so
Whole
funny.
buffet for you. Yeah. There's
You
a-
guys,
there's more in there.
we're so glad. I'm sorry it took so long to have this conversation.
we really
this is
appreciate
a
it.
great conversation.
Thank you so much.
We have a
we have a question, but I have to say this. We pride ourselves on being, a term of endearment, Jagoffs. How have you been, Jagoff? But I think we should partner up. We're going to talk to Chris Kane about this and do a Don't Be a Jagoff and do these things. And then people know what not to do with their dog.
Oh my
love
gosh,
it.
yes.
I'm so there.
Please.
Yes.
And you know who Chris is.
Yeah.
Donna's
I do.
son. I mean,
do.
he's literally, we're going to go
Yeah.
knock. Chris, this is what we think. So
Yes.
I was so mad that my "Don't Be a Jagoff" shirt was dirty.
Oh, well, they have some
no,
here
okay.
for
It
you.
was still
if
at
you
the
need it.
cleaners, dry cleaners.
So listen,
All
this
right.
is the question of the day. You guys were chatting it up, so you may not know. Brandy, who is the homeowner, works at a Zazu. So she helps us to kind of what are the accessories to make you look like you're dressed up? I always say I am low maintenance. I barely wash my hair. So if I am throwing on a big pair of earrings and wear some black, I'm fake dressed up. Do you have a secret to being fake dressed up? Someone said, Scott said, a sport jacket. Do you have a trick?
I put glitter on my eyes. That's
Oh,
my thing.
wow, you
Yeah.
go all out.
Yeah, that's my Brett too. He does
That's
the
your
same
dress
thing.
up
I
eyes.
learned it from him.
Stole that one from me, actually. No.
Damn her!
No, I have one pair of semi-trendy pants that if I put those on with a
You're good.
t-shirt, I'm good.
You're good.
Oh, there you go.
We all have the tricks.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I don't know. I think it's a sport coat. I think I have to steal from
Okay.
Scott. I
Yeah.
think it's a sport coat.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's what's ever clean, right?
And the glitter,
I noticed
of
you're
course.
not wearing
And the
one right
glitter.
now.
Right,
but,
that's right. This is a-
Rachel's in black,
right,
but you
this
did
is
not
a
don
sport
the
coat.
sport
I'm
coat.
fake dressed up.
You've
Right.
got the earrings.
She's dressed up on the top. She has shorts on the bottom.
Exactly.
Because she thinks she's a
COVID.
news anchor.
You guys, thank you so much. You were
Thank
such a
you.
treat.
No, it was
This
awesome.
is amazing.
Well,
Thank you guys so
much.
much.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.
It's
All
a
right,
lot of
coming up
fun.
next, we're going to talk to our musician, Brandon Payne, who's been waiting in the wings. Hey, Brandon.
Thank you. Oh my God, such a pleasure. Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Stay in touch.
You have endless topics.
I wish we'd have gotten the eating. Bye, guys. Good to see you.
Oh, our guy Brandon Payne is wetting his whistle. Oh, you can bring it in. You can bring it in. The fake rawhide is not for you. All right, so if you're watching online, know that you can get the edited version. We're at the People's Gas Porch Tour stop number 2, collecting items for Zachary's mission. And we are just about to finish with a little bit of song, but the cool thing is our guest right now is Brandon Payne. Our guest right now is Brandon Payne, and that Brandon, this is the second porch you've been on, and the second porch that has had extreme weather. Right here. Grab one of these
Are you
microphones
over us
there.
yet? Wait.
Last one, it poured down rain, like really poured.
It
We
was
were all underneath the
and we were
tents.
underneath it, and it was going down my back.
Yes.
And I was, "Ooh."
Yeah.
It was
So-
a nice little chill.
So we
was
met
with
you
Gretchen
there.
McKay,
yeah,
remember? Yeah.
exactly. We met you there, and then fast forward. So what has happened with Brandon Payne Music since we saw you last? 2 years ago, July of 2021.
Okay, yeah,
I
it's
think.
been a while.
Yeah.
I can officially say I'm a Pittsburgh resident now.
Nice.
I think before I was
Awesome. Yes, you
I was
were
living
not.
south. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. So now right in the city, 5 minutes from here, which is great. Got a website up, thatpainfulmusic.com. Just playing a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
so
which is
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Great, because once COVID happened, like there was nothing.
Right.
It was hard
Did
to
you
recover
go
from that.
online during that and do some music? Or
I
did. You
did.
just kind of stay quiet?
I did YouTube live streams.
Okay. Yeah.
And like friends would log in, and I that's when I learned a whole ton of songs because it was
Okay.
people would throw in requests. I was like, okay, I'll learn it for next Wednesday. We'll do a live stream. And so I learned a whole bunch of songs during that time, and yeah, it's been a cool ride.
I was joking with you before, we came on, and I said, we gave you a job. We had something coming up afterward, and
Yeah.
again, this time I was like, We got a little something for Brandon
We
Payne.
do have a little
and
something
he's good.
again.
I talked to
is
him
that
already.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
All
we're
right.
really
See,
excited.
just
So you
keep
have a
coming to the
little tour.
podcast because every other week after that,
No,
you
we
get a paid
appreciate
gig.
it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
We
now,
love local musicians, especially folks like yourself who, you epitomize, like we said, the COVID, what happened after COVID. Everybody had to sort of figure it out.
Yeah.
And if you love your craft, it's sort of like what Scott talked about. Stick with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't let something like that get in your way.
Yeah.
You got to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
But as a musician, you just said you got a website up and everything. Did you have to go learn, teach yourself all that stuff? Musicians write music and perform, right?
Yeah.
But now there's website, there's social media. You have
Yeah.
to adapt to all of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean the Instagram and all that stuff. I'm still trying to learn it all. It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's companies that make it easier for you, so
Yeah.
you don't have to know all the ins and outs. But
Yeah.
for the most part, yeah, it's been nice to have that. It's nice to have more followers and meet people and have them, if they want to follow me and know where my shows are and stuff, they can. It's nice to have that accessibility for them to do that.
Can you sing anything Bobby Brown? No pressure, but Bobby Brown is here. Rachel will accompany
I
you.
already did My Prerogative and Every Little Step.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I have in my
Okay.
in my Rolodex.
He's like,
of
that's
Bobby
it,
Brown
rank them
songs.
out.
Yeah. Right. Well, we appreciate you coming to the podcast. You know that we have. Wait, again, where does everybody find you online?
Yeah, that painful music. That's YouTube, Facebook,
I love that you call it that.
.com, everywhere. Yeah.
And in case we weren't a little coy, we are going to do a little preview of Cindy Stock on August 5th and 12th. We're going to have Mark Ferrari and Brandon Payne, and they're going to be singing in the parking lot at John Angel's Ginchy Stuff. Boom. Details to follow.
Right.
We don't know all of them yet. That's why.
Right. Right.
So
All right.
you're going to do another song for us?
Question of the day?
Okay, question of the
Okay.
day. Don't get nervous. So, when you have to go out and you don't feel like it, you're either in your pajamas or it's 104 degrees and you don't really, you're not going to look nice.
Okay.
What's your fake dress up outfit? Like, what do you throw on? Like, Scott said a sport coat. I said a pair of earrings. Is there something you throw on that you fake dress up?
Am I going to Giant Eagles or am I going out to dinner?
Dinner.
I love that he followed up with a
Going out
dinner.
to
You're
dinner.
going on.
Oh, I'm going out to oh geez.
But you're hot, you're tired, but you got to do it.
I don't know. I'd throw on a hat and just say, if you
Yeah.
don't like the way I look, I'm sorry.
We didn't need follow up on what the speech was, what the verbiage was, but that was perfect. I love that you added on.
All right, so
Yeah.
you're going to sing us another song.
I
Can
got
you
one.
give us a little music bed as we do a few ads?
Sure.
And say thank you to everybody?
Sure.
Once again, saying thank you to all the folks that provided prizes for our porch tour, which is Mary Mac Bakehouse Cookie Ice Cream, Ernie Ritchie Sausage, the Pittsburgh Irish Festival, Dryer Vent Wizard, All Things Empanada, and Spectrum Fudge.
Thank you so much to our guests, Scott Baker from 5 Generations Baker, Eaton Park, obviously, as well, the Dog Stop, Bobby Brown. Check out the rest of the senior games. They're still going on throughout the weekend. And thank you always to Monica and Tracy, who make this super simple. Thanks to Q92.9, and thank you, as always, to Honda. I didn't have my notes last time. Get the best experience of customer service and maintenance of your Rorick Advantage at the Service Center on West Liberty Avenue. Visit RorickHonda.com for all of your vehicle needs. And by all means, check out our blog post where John gets to have road rage and take it out on his computer. Thanks for joining us. Listen to Brandon Payne.
I never knew that I could be something I could never let me see. Here's hoping it's the best of me, and I thank you, 'cause you set me free. I change the things I used to do, 'cause I know they ain't made for you. I know there's more I need to do, but I thank you, 'cause you set me free. Free there, relaxing in the summer, laying out, listening to the thunder. There's no place I'd rather be. Free there, I'm taking a long way. Free there, letting your head down, stay around. Thank you for making me me. I don't care what the world will do. Just focus on future me and you. I know there's more we need to move. I still thank you. 'Cause you set me free. Freely or relaxing in the summer. Laying out, listening to thunder. There's no place I'd rather be. Freely I'm taking the long way. Freely letting your head down, stay around. Thank you for making me me. When I think of all we've done together, how it seems we've lasted forever. Free and relaxing in the summer, late night, listen to thunder. There's no place I'd rather be. Free I'm taking the long way. Breathing and letting your hair down. Thank you for making me me. Thank you for making me me.
There you go. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Dude comes in with the best hat. You get the award for the best hat today.